Well, that nationwide redistricting fight comes as President Trump floats the idea that Republicans should nationalize elections. He made those comments earlier this week on a podcast. He said Republicans should take over voting in at least 15 states. During an interview yesterday with NBC Nightly news anchor Tom Llamas, the president pinpointed cities that he said were extremely corrupt. He named Detroit, Atlanta, and Philadelphia, all cities with large black populations that voted heavily against Donald Trump. NBC News senior national political reporter Sahil Kapur joins us now. Sahil, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Happy to be here.
Let's talk a little bit more about the growing pushback we're seeing out there to the president's comments. As it relates to the Constitution and your reporting, what are the chances that the president could try or actually make these changes before the midterm?
Well, Sean, let me start with what the president cannot do, which is take over balloting, vote counting, and the mechanics of actually running elections. The Constitution clearly gives that authority to states. Now, the president says he wants to take over the voting in his own words without specifying exactly what that would mean or how he would do that legally. And even some of his Republican allies on Capitol Hill say that's not constitutionally possible. What the president can do is try to persuade Congress to set federal rules and guidelines around voting that states have to abide by. And his White House has been zeroing in on the SAVE Act, which would set nationwide proof of citizenship requirements for Americans to vote. Just tonight, the president is calling to expand that Republican bill and make it three components. First, require voter ID to vote. Second, show proof of citizenship to register. That one's already in there. And third, ban mail-in ballots with limited exceptions like for military service members and disabilities. This package could pass the Republican House in theory, but it would be dead on arrival in the Senate, where his party would have no way around a Democratic filibuster.
Yeah, I know we'll be watching to see on that. We've also seen the FBI seize the ballot in states like Georgia. The president continues to falsely insist he did not lose there in 2020 to Joe Biden. What sort of impact could this have if we start seeing more situations like this? Even though the FBI is supposed to be independent, you know, the president, we've seen him use it, you know, as an extension of what he wants to see happen.
This backdrop is key context because it all comes in the midst of President Trump repeating his fabricated claims that he won the 2020 election and that he won Georgia when he lost it, and he has failed to show evidence to the contrary. Now, Georgia's Democratic Congressman Sanford Bishop told me earlier this week that he believes the FBI's actions in Fulton County are an attempt by this president to intimidate Georgians and pursue an authoritarian takeover of elections. And when it comes to DNI Tulsi Gabbard, the administration has offered shifting rationales for why she's even there. And top Republicans in Congress also say they have not been briefed on what she's up to. So that one really is a bit of a mystery.
Talk a little bit more about the president's immigration enforcement. His talk about nationalizing elections seems to target cities and large metro areas again that voted against him. Is that a strategy that's actually working for him politically?
It is part of the president's brand to go after parts of the country that didn't support him in one way or another. And a core part of his base certainly likes to see this, but when it comes to immigration enforcement, the strategy has not worked well for the president, certainly in Minneapolis. We've seen a wave of recent polls showing that Americans believe ICE and CBP have gone too far after 2 American citizens were killed by government agents there. And 2 recent polls also show the president's ratings on handling immigration sinking all the way down to the high 30s. Which is extraordinary given where they started. So it's really no coincidence that the president recently told NBC's Tom Llamas that his administration may need to take a softer touch, in his own words, on immigration, Sean.
We will be watching. NBC News senior national political reporter Sahil Kapur, thanks so much for joining us tonight.